Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor here, and we are back with another episode of The Rumour Mill. How are you doing? How's it going? That was 2 videos yesterday I put out there for you, and I think there's going to be another 2 today. We've got The Rumour Mill, and then we will have Generation Leeds. Hopefully, I think so anyway. I don't know what his plans are, but Generation Leeds coming later on, which if you guys do not know, is a podcast that I do with my dad, which is really enjoyable. And we just talk everything Leeds United. So we'll be talking about the previous week, talking about individual topics that I think will be quite entertaining for you guys. So make sure you tune in for that one. As well, yesterday I did a Patreon video. If you guys are really interested, it's exploring the New York City FC network that Leeds United could establish. And it's also a little bit of a player profile on Valentin Tati Castellanos and exactly what he could bring to Leeds United. So make sure you check that out if you're interested. Link will be in the description below. So here we go. The latest transfer news, everybody. And there's been another striker linked to Leeds United. And guess what? It is of the RB Salzburg way, the persuasion, the RB Salzburg persuasion. Striker Junior Adamu. Leeds United are allegedly hot on the trail of RB Salzburg striker Junior Adamu this summer, according to Sky Sports. Reporting on their Austrian website, Sky Sports have reported that the Whites are joined by Southampton, West Ham, and many Bundesliga clubs in the race, which is really exciting. I mean, I remember against Bayern, obviously watched the Salzburg games versus Bayern to just get a look on Brendan Aronson. I remember there was one period of play where Brendan Aronson laid the ball off and this Junior Adamu scored a very, very nice goal. So, yeah, little bit of a partnership there. Obviously, it would be, I mean, it's heavy Salzburg, isn't it? It really, really is heavy Salzburg, which unnerves me a little bit. I've said this to you guys. I want to go out and get players, of course you do, of course I do, but I think a lot of them, or some of them I should say, should be domestic based. I think a lot of them, are going to be European based because you get more for your money, of course you do, but I just don't want the entirety of Leeds' signings to be Salzburg based, because I just think it's a big risk. I think you pick and choose from the Salzburg setup and then integrate that within the Leeds United setup, but I just don't know whether or not that amount of Salzburg players are going to integrate and kick on straight away, which we need them to. It's a big transition, and you're asking every single one of them to really hit an 8 or 9 dial out of 10, when crossing over into the Premier League, performing every single week, because that's what it takes to really, be successful in the Premier League. If you want to be a top 10 side, you need players to be performing 8, 9 out of 10 week in, week out. And can players from the Austrian League transfer over and do that straight away in the first season? I don't know. But listen, he's had 30 appearances, 7 goals, 5 assists. That's in the Austrian Bundesliga. Make sure you take that into. When you look at his Champions League appearances, he's had 8 appearances and 1 goal, which obviously came against Bayern Munich. So, yeah, a mixed bag, but interesting. And yeah, obviously, with you guys understand that I've been doing a lot of research on Tati Castellanos, the striker that Leeds have been interested in, and he seems to really, really fit the bill. And obviously, I know he's MLS based, and people do sort of turn the nose up at that one. But I think as a player profile, as a player who, you're looking at a certain individual with certain attributes to be able to fit in this system, he looks absolutely perfect. So I'm hoping that they've not been sort of sniffed off that. I'm hoping they've not been told, nah, that's not going to work. With Tati Castellanos, we'll have to wait and see, because at the minute, I think he's literally ready for a massive European move. So, yeah, I think that will be my favourite option at the minute, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with Junior Adamu. But the price tag would essentially be around about 11 to 12 million. So once again, Leeds really shopping in that market, nothing of 20, nothing of 25, which I do prefer, to be honest with you. Next up in the news, everybody, Leeds United are set to add an ex-Manchester United staff member to the roster. It looks like Leeds United are set to appoint Chris Armas to Jesse Marsh's coaching staff after the American left Manchester United, obviously with Ralph Ragnick this summer. So yeah, interesting. Obviously, he'll have worked under Ralph Ragnick before in the Red Bull network, so it sort of fits. He's now worked in the English game as well, declared as a winner by many people as well, even though his period at Manchester United wasn't great, but you're not just going to solely blame him for that. But yeah, Chris Armas was at Manchester United last season. Looks like he's about to join Leeds United. And interesting, some news has come out. Phil Hay has released some news on Rasmus Christensen. Allegedly, Dortmund were extremely close to getting Rasmus Christensen before Leeds United came in and won the race, which is great news because the price is there, which is excellent. You know, the deal that Leeds have got done, for 10 to 11 million is exceptional in terms of business for a high profile player who's been touted by Brentford, who's been touted by Dortmund. But apparently, Phil Hayes said that it was quite far down the line. He wrote in his latest mailbag for The Athletic, the Rasmus Christensen transfer from Red Bull Salzburg is well on the way to be finalised. Terms are agreed, and Leeds hope to put him through a medical this week, allowing them to wrap the deal up. It's something of a turnaround because it looked very recently as if Borussia Dortmund would get the Danish right back. People close to negotiations thought a move to Dortmund was well down the line, but Leeds managed to make their pitch in a way that got them into the running later on. And I think that's something that we've never questioned with Victor in terms of the ability to pitch something, the ability to pitch an idea and pitch a philosophy and pitch an ethos that a player can really buy into. I don't think that's ever been within question, really, because that's what he did. I mean, Eddie Nketiah, he beat 20 other clubs to his signature. You know, when Eddie Nketiah was that high-profile young striker who'd done really well for England under 21s, and there was a whole host of clubs. So Victor Orta has definitely got that in his locker. He's able to sell the project. I think with Victor, it's more of the actual identity of the player. It's the actual selection of that individual. You know, Rasmus seems like a good talent, but I've made this mistake before with Junior Firpo that I'm not going to put all my eggs into one basket. I want to see him play for Leeds first, then I'll make a judgment potentially after maybe 4 or 5 games, like I did with Junior. So yeah, that's what I think has been the problem with Victor Orta. It's not the idea of selling the project. I don't think that's ever been a problem. I think he's an exceptional salesman, clearly, and he's very good at his job in terms of being able to get the player in the room and sell them the idea of the current manager. I think it's the selection of player. And that is ultimately where he's going to be judged this summer. And ultimately, that's going to impact where Leeds United finish. And for me, ultimately, it's going to impact on whether or not Leeds United remain in the Premier League. Victor Orta has the job of his life on at the minute at Leeds United to be able to turn this around. We can't forget as Leeds United fans how this ended. Okay, we can't forget how we all felt at the end of the season. We can't forget how many players as Leeds United fans we were turning around and saying we need going into next season. We can't all think to ourselves, well, we're bringing in these 3 players from Red Bull Salzburg, you know, potentially if you're putting Junior Adamu in there and saying the Champions League players, so we're all sorted now. You know, the Champions League players for RB Salzburg, which they've done really well this season in the Champions League. But overall, they're playing in the Austrian Bundesliga week in, week out. I've said before that I think Brendan will make that transfer over to the Premier League quite nicely, but it is still going to be a big, big task for him, for Junior, if he was to sign, and for Rasmus. It's going to be a massive adaptation. And that's why I think Leeds have to go down the domestic route for some players, because you need players who are already adapted to the English setup to know what to expect from certain embers of you know, stages in the Premier League, really. So that's what I think Leeds need to focus on next. I really do. Like I'm all about like a backup striker coming from maybe a different part of the world, but I do the central defensive midfielder, the potential replacement for Rafinha. They have to be players that we know of, and they have to be players with a little bit of X factor. That's what I believe anyway. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see with that one. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's not a massive news day today. I think we're just waiting on that Rasmus medical. That's what we're doing. It seems to be ticking on a little bit. And like me and my dad have said, and my dad will be on the podcast tonight, that there needs to be movement quickly. We need to keep moving with this, you know. So Christensen, done, medical, signed, sealed, delivered, get it announced on Twitter, whatever. Then move on to the striker, Junior or Tati, whatever. Then moved on to the experienced goalkeeper. Then move on to another left back for me. Then move on to a potential backup right back. Then a central midfielder. Then an attacking midfielder. These are the things that Leeds need to be doing to make sure we're absolutely secure next season. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Rumour Mill. We'll be back this evening, me and my dad, I think, hopefully, I think so, to chat everything Leeds United in the episode 2 of Generation Leeds podcast. Want some bonus content? Go over to the Patreon, check that out. There'll be another video on the Patreon account this Thursday, recommended by you guys. See you in a bit. Cheers.